Stop buying microtransactions. If you don't know what microtransactions are, they're essentially small purchases that can be made within video games to just add a little additional revenue for developers of these video games. Hence the name microtransactions. They're literally transactions made in small amounts, yet even that is debatable. If you don't play video games, you might wonder how this might be relevant to you, but we'll still be touching on how developers for even just apps that you use on your phone might be influenced by some strategies that these video game developers use to make extra money. The reason I chose this topic, though, is because I have grown up playing video games my entire life, and I really don't want to see this industry go down the path that it is currently taking. It has become apparent in recent years that video games have become this low-effort cash cow. It has become an increasingly expensive, unfulfilling, and addictive hobby. Because of the massive growth that the gaming scene has seen over the recent decades, so has the opportunities to cash in, and some of these opportunities are honestly exploitative. So, by buying into these microtransactions and other related money-making schemes, we are effectively lowering the quality of games because the developers are going to go where the money goes. So I'm here to convince you to vote with your wallet and stop buying in-game purchases, which will only fuel the financially harmful and addictive fire that this gaming industry is becoming. And I aim to convince you through showing you some of the strategies that developers use to encapture their players and point out the potentially negative side effects of buying into these microtransactions. So the focus of developing games have shifted from making a quality game that sells well to make money to making something that just makes a ton of money through its strategies, and thereby worsening the quality of the game. Recently, some games have taken on the approach of taking old features from previous games and stripping them down and putting them behind a monetization opportunity. This is most recently seen in Halo Infinite, a game originally developed by Bungie and then now is developing by 343, where in the first games you'd have your character and be able to choose different color schemes and combinations to customize your character to look the way you want them to look. However, it has been recently announced that in the newest release of Halo Infinite, will include a color system that will be able to be monetized. This means that they took away the freedom of allowing you to choose any color combination you want, and instead added a system that adds some different patterns and color combinations preset. And these color combinations can be obtained through purchasing items like Mountain Dew or Doritos or objects like those or food items that can have codes on them that you can redeem. So it requires some sort of external purchase to then impact how you look within the game. While this may be a positive to those willing to shell out the money, for those who are wanting to buy the game and experience the full game for what it's worth, they're effectively losing some features that they used to have in previous installments. Destiny is a first-person role-playing game developed by Bungie, and in its first game, rewards were set up in that if you did challenging activities, you would be rewarded with neat-looking gear or rewards that would be able to help you show off that you worked hard for that reward. However, in the sequel, Destiny 2, they set up an in-game shop where there are items in there that are only obtainable through purchasing, and rewards that you would have otherwise found through challenging content has been put into this shop that can only be purchased with real money. This can be frustrating because incentives to play this challenging content to get rewards that you can show off to other players is now put behind a paywall, so you can show off to players how much money you spent on that item. Yeah, not the best trade-off. Not only does the quality of the game drop significantly because of this, but the strategies used to keep players engaged through entertaining story and gameplay has turned into focusing on strategies on how to keep players coming back because of addiction. Addictive tactics are employed through use of positive feedback when a player purchases items in-game, or the video game is designed in such a way that it has slow progression that is kind of boring and a slog, but provides a shortcut through purchasing something that speeds up your progress. Fortnite is a completely free game for every console and every phone imaginable, and what they have set up are season passes, which you would have to pay for initially. But as you play through the season pass and clock enough time into it, you'll earn what is called V-Bucks, which is just an in-game currency. This currency can then be used to buy the next season pass. While you have the initial sale for the season pass, they incentivize you to keep playing and forming this sort of addiction through needing to build up enough currency to buy the next season pass. Because the last thing you would want as a player is to have any of your money go to waste. So you want to use up every little bit of it, which means putting in as much time as possible to get through the season pass so you can have the next one without having to pay for that one. This can be pretty harmful for kids who are playing this and happen to get the season pass for Christmas. They feel like they'll have to clock in an X amount of time to ensure that they don't have to pay for any more season passes, which may be months before they could have another one purchased for them. And this sets up a poor habit for kids whose brains are still developing. Some games, such as Overwatch, has set up a loot box system, where after playing some time in the game, you get this box that you can open up and find certain rewards within, whether that be cosmetic, things that actually help in the game, or anything in between. These loot boxes have a really cool animation where it kind of, as you click it to open it up, the items spill out, there's bright colors and sounds, and it's all very satisfying. It really releases dopamine every time you open one. But they have the option to also purchase these loot boxes if you're not earning what you want from these. And if you're purchasing these loot boxes, you're essentially gambling. You're putting real money to hopefully get something good in return. These sort of cheap, addictive tactics to get people to spend extra money isn't just done with progression or cosmetics or anything like that. Sometimes people will go out of their ways to design something in their game that will generate revenue in a different way. The most recent release of FIFA, which is a soccer game published by Electronic Arts, involved a controversial addition, an update, a few days after the release of the game, which had an advertisement play during the load screen when you're going to start playing a match. There was obviously backlash, since people who were playing this game had paid full price, $60 for this game, plus this game already had loot boxes, like I had previously mentioned, where you couldn't even be guaranteed you wanted the stuff. You'd get the stuff you'd want. The developers actually removed it due to the backlash and claimed that it was a mistake somehow. And so FIFA attempted something that we haven't really ever seen anywhere else. Actual advertisements that you'd see on TV in commercials in the middle of a game. Like I had hinted at, there are apps outside of games where the developers aim to get some sort of money from the users. Marco Polo is a video messaging app that allows you to communicate and take turns speaking with a friend. One of the features that they had for this app was to be able to speed up someone's video. So if they're taking a long time explaining something, you can do 2 times speed. Or another feature is to save any videos that either of you have taken if you want to remember those videos for the future. So in an effort to make some money off of these features, the developers stripped the app of these features that are free and then put it behind a subscription. That if you want to utilize these features, again, you'd have to pay money monthly in order to do so. So we can see this extends beyond gaming. There are efforts done by developers of every technology who try to make as much profit as possible, which is understandable. But when they cheapen the experience and when they take away what was already once given, it kind of ruins things. And once developers can see how successful their efforts are, we can find nothing will be free. Even things that we pay for will have features locked behind additional paywalls in order to get the full experience that we hope to achieve when we buy something. All right, well, I just laid out before you some examples of how video games are becoming plagued by greedy and questionable practices that affect the undisciplined, the unaware, and children. Microtransactions and the like show developers, when we purchase them, that we can be exploited for money when we've already paid them money. And this will lower the quality of the video games that we may enjoy, and even the apps that we use day to day. And this is why I urge everyone to avoid these practices. Because if we don't like the way that these games and apps are going, then by very simply not giving them the money that they're trying to get out of that system will stop them. If they're not making money, they're going to have to stop. Now, obviously, I can't tell you what to do with your money. You can do whatever you want. But again, if you want to see things improve, if you would rather see that these games and apps don't go down this path that it's currently going, with everything being something you have to pay for, then it is vital that you don't support them, that you don't shell out any money. By reinforcing the positive and ignoring the negative, we'll see that games and apps are up to quality status again, that it won't require anything more of you when you've already put forth money to utilize those things in the first place. Vote with your wallet, and you will see results.